There are 120 police on land, air and water enforcing and protecting the communities that have been affected by these floods. And so if you think that this is your opportunity to go and loot those areas, you are wrong. The police will catch and arrest you. Our energy workers have done a fantastic job. 95% of those homes who had lost power now have power reconnected. However, there are still 9,500 homes without power, and they're working very hard over the weekend to meet that target they set themselves of having the power returned to everybody by close of business Sunday, close of business tomorrow. We now have just 178 people in our evacuation centres. That's down from 266 at the update yesterday. You'll have seen that the Prime Minister has now approved our request for matched Commonwealth funding of our more than $500 million flood recovery program targeted at small businesses, not-for-profit organisations, primary producers and clubs. Businesses can now apply for up to $50,000 of support from that program. To do so, they just need to go to the Q-Rider website, and of course the Queensland Government is there to assist people. Primary producers can apply for up to $75,000, and sporting clubs like here at Mitchelton FC can apply for $20,000. This is the first round of support while we continue to assess the damage and determine whether and what form future rounds of support should look like. Today, instead of running around playing on fields like this one here at Mitchie, the kids are helping out along with their parents to do the cleanup. Tens of thousands of people are out and about today, cleaning up their local sporting clubs, their parks, their neighbourhoods. The Mud Army is out in force, and while during the disaster we saw many of the heroics on display, particularly from our emergency service workers, now is when the spirit of Queensland comes out, and you can see it in the trailers and the wheelbarrows and the chainsaws and all of the hands here helping to get our communities back up and running, so that just as soon as possible we can put all of those tools away and get back to our weekend sport. Those grant programs are designed to help our sporting organisations get back on their feet, but of course our focus is also on building back better. Mitchelton's never flooded like it did in this event, and we'll be determined to make sure that with the rebuild and the recovery, that we build back better to make sure that wherever possible we make sure that places that have flooded this time don't flood again. We have 321 ADF personnel out helping with the cleanup today as well, and we're grateful for their support and the work that they are doing. In terms of the weather, as you can see, it's a beautiful day here in Brisbane for the cleanup. A great day to get out and about. It is, of course, hot, and so make sure you've got your hat and your sunscreen. The Bureau is predicting more thunderstorms north of the southeast, so from Rockhampton to the Fraser Coast late today. Those thunderstorms could, though, extend into the southeast coming into tomorrow, particularly later in the afternoon on Sunday. And as we've said, because the ground is so wet, because the creeks and the rivers are already flowing so fast, it won't take much rain for there to be new flooding. So keep an eye on the forecasts. It's likely only to be very localised, but please do keep an eye on those forecasts. And finally, the heat wave continues in the north of the state, record-breaking heat wave up there, and we just urge people to take care of their neighbours, to stay hydrated, and if you need to seek an air-conditioned space. We have Brendan Moon, the Chief Executive of the Queensland Reconstruction Authority, here to talk today, as well as Gary, the President of Mitchie FC, who can talk about the clean-up efforts here by the community.
Thank you, Deputy Premier. Since 2010, Queensland communities have recovered and responded to over 90 natural disasters. And what you see here today is being reflected across many other places throughout southeast Queensland. Whereas we have a locally led recovery to this particular event, and we know we get the best outcomes when the recovery effort is locally led, it is supported by the state and working closely with the Commonwealth. Right now, our priorities are about getting people back in their homes, it's about reconnecting communities, and it's about having businesses start operating again. And you will have seen that we have activated a number of short-term relief measures to assist people get back into their homes and to assist not only small business primary producers, but importantly sporting clubs, which are the glue of the community, back to getting back into operation as quickly as possible. It is absolutely wonderful to see this community pull together in this particular area, and we're seeing this across southeast Queensland. I'd also like to make comment that as part of our recovery process, we will be using recovery to be a springboard to resilience. Every event gives us clear lessons on how we can better withstand and respond better to the next event, and that will be included in our recovery planning at a local, state and also Commonwealth level. Thank you.
In Mitchie today, we're just our second day, or major day of cleaning up. The first day we had a lot of people here simply picking up rubbish, taking down fences that were dangerous and all that sort of thing, and that was on Monday, and we had a huge number of people here today. And again, the number of people from the club, the community, and other people that we're associated who've just turned up today and got out and helped clean up, pick up rocks off the fields and do all that is amazing. We've got a number of fields here, some of which we hope to have back up and running in a week or so. Others maybe in the next 6 weeks if we're lucky. But just the effort from all the people, all the club members and everybody else has been very amazing. We got water through the clubhouse for the first time, and the damage in there is quite extensive. But we've been cleaning that out today. By the end of today, we hope that we'll have everything into the stage where we can say, okay, everything's clean, now we need to start all over again. And that's the big job coming up. I really appreciate the efforts of every one of our members and every one of the community that's come along to help us.
Any questions?
Deputy Premier, the water subsided in places like Logan and Beenleigh now. Do you have an updated number of how many homes have been affected? And how many have been badly damaged?
Yeah, we don't have one to hand. It's expected to be in the thousands, but we're happy to provide that as the damage assessments continue.
There's also there's an ongoing rental crisis in Queensland. Where do you expect people are going to live? It's already so hard to find a house.
Yeah, our housing department is working with individuals affected to find them accommodation, but you're right, it is very challenging. It was challenging even before the floods, and now taking thousands of properties out of our housing stock is going to make it even harder.
Questions continue about early warning, dam management or planning in flood zones. Will there be a major inquiry or review into these matters?
Oh, look, we always debrief our disaster response and recovery efforts, and of course we will this time, but I think our emergency services have done a fantastic job supporting our community, and now we are moving from that response phase into the recovery.
Just one on Japanese encephalitis. Are there plans for Queensland for targeted vaccination?
So our focus of the Japanese encephalitis response our focus of the Japanese encephalitis response is on mosquito control, and so Queensland Health is working with local governments to ensure that their mosquito control programs address any concerns from those piggery-related Japanese encephalitis infections. And our message, our public health alert to the general community is to take precautions regarding mosquitoes, mosquito spray, addressing mosquito breeding grounds in and around your homes, particularly with that really sodden catchment that we have after all the rain.
Just back on housing, Deputy Premier, are there plans for emergency housing in place?
There are plans for emergency accommodation in place. We've done that before, we'll do it again. We've also made one of the pods at the Wellcamp accommodation facility available for people who might need it. Now, obviously that's not going to be suitable for everybody, but it does provide some options there. The Department of Housing is well accustomed to having to deal with this kind of situation.
And just back on that, the technical inquiry that I did mention, are there talks at the governmental level about these things?
As I said, our disaster response and recovery program always includes debriefing to assess how it has gone and any lessons that can be learned. But by and large, I think the response operation led by our police and emergency services has been very, very good. Anything else? Great. Thank you. Thanks for coming. That was great. Okay.